So I filmed my first ever music video, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about it from start to finish, the entire process, what I learned, mistakes I made, and just the overall experience. So that's what we're gonna get into today. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Kostas. I'm a filmmaker and photographer based in Los Angeles, California. And before I get into the nitty-gritty of the video, I want to actually explain how this opportunity for me to shoot my first ever music video came about. So some of you may know this, but I used to produce music and DJ with my best friend Josh. We went under the name WizG and did it for about 2 years right after I graduated. But after 2 years, I decided it wasn't for me, decided to call it quits because I wanted to focus a lot more on photography and video. Josh decided to keep going with it, which is so awesome, and he's been grinding super hard, and he got presented this opportunity to remix a song called Since I Was Young by Wrabel, and Kesha's also on the song, which is super, super cool. So fast forward a little bit and Josh's remix gets approved, and he even gets the green light to make a video if he wants for the remix. So Josh naturally came to me and was like, yo, I got the okay to make a video for the song. Do you want to do it? And I said, of course, but if we're gonna do it, let's go like balls to the wall and make a full-on music video for it. So I then hit up my buddy Chase, who's also an aspiring filmmaker and just so happens to be one of my best friends. I said, yo, do you want to do this video with me? He said, of course. We always talked about wanting to make films together, so let's do this. And I was super stoked to have him on board because I knew I wasn't going to be able to do it alone. All right, so we got the okay from the label to make a video. I got Chase on board, so we got our two-man team. Now the next step is to like figure out the entire concept for the actual video. So we decided that we didn't want it to just be like a visually appealing music video. We wanted to actually tell a story. And the first thing that we had to decide was like, okay, where do we shoot the thing? So a few weeks prior to us like actually planning the music video, I went to go shoot at this place called the Trona Pinnacles. I went with some creator friends and I realized like, yo, this is a really dope looking spot. It would be perfect for the music video. And there was also like no one that oversees the area, so no one was gonna bother us while we were shooting or tell us that we couldn't shoot. Because the last thing we wanted to do was like go somewhere, have the whole video planned out, and then have someone tell us like, yo, you can't shoot here. Location taken care of. Now to come up with the actual concept. The name of the song is Since I Was Young. So we wanted to incorporate Josh's younger self into the video. The concept that we came up with was, it'd be pretty cool if Josh was guided through the desert by photos that he found of his younger self with like just himself or his family. Those photos guided him all the way to the Trona Pinnacles, where he then came across a treasure chest or a box of a bunch of photos of himself as a kid, symbolizing like him finding himself in the desert. Josh is also a DJ, so we wanted to incorporate shots of him actually DJing out in the desert because we were like, how cool would that be? It was also nice to have like shots of him DJing as well as shots of him exploring because it kind of was like two separate characters and helped break up the video, which was nice. Something that actually came together in the edit was the fact that like we originally thought these two characters, him DJing and him exploring, were like separate, but Chase actually came up with the idea to make it look as though Josh DJing was overlooking and guiding like the exploring Josh the entire way. It really brought the entire video together, and that was all Chase's idea in the edit. So like huge shout out to Chase because I really feel like it pieced the entire video together and was really, really cool. Location figured out, date set, concept finalized. Last thing we needed to figure out was gear. So Chase and I both wanted to shoot this video on a Red camera. And for those of you who don't know, a Red camera is a cinema camera. It's like a proper movie camera. They're very expensive. But neither of us had ever shot on one, so we were kind of intimidated. But we figured what better way to learn than just by doing it. So we decided to rent one, and we rented one off of my buddy Gabe. He had a Red Dragon, so huge shout out to Gabe for letting us rent it off of him because without him, we literally wouldn't have been able to shoot the video. So along with the camera, Gabe also included a 16-35mm lens, which was great because that was like the wide angle lens we needed. I knew we were also gonna want a telephoto lens because I just wanted to not shoot everything wide angle. I wanted us to have like different focal lengths and different shots just to tell the story better. So we also rented a 70-200 f2.8 lens. And then the last thing that we rented were Titan tube LED lights. These lights are so dope. They literally look like lightsabers. They're also really expensive. But we rented a pack of 8, and I'm so glad we did because 1, we wouldn't have been able to shoot at night. There's no lights out there once, the sun goes down. But 2, it really brought like a whole aesthetic to the music video. So I'm really, really glad that we rented them. Guys, this brings me to my first tip slash thing that I learned during this whole experience, which is invest in yourself. It's something that I've been doing a lot more of lately, and if you're looking to get into photography and video, investing in yourself is certainly part of it and something you won't regret. So to be completely transparent with you guys, in total we spent a little bit over $3,000 on the entire video. $3,000 is kind of a lot of money. It's not like a small amount that you can just like throw around, at least not for us. But it's something that I'm really glad we did because, for example, we could have shot this video on my camera, we could have not rented the lights, we could have not gone so far and had to rent an Airbnb, but I'm really glad that we did because I think it really shows in the final product, and I just don't think that the video would have turned out as good as it did had we not invested in ourselves. So seeing the final product definitely made me realize like how important investing in yourself is. So if you're out there wanting to pursue this as a career, like don't be afraid to put some money into it and invest in yourself because it's certainly worth it. And lastly, the last thing that we had to figure out was the shot list and our shooting schedule. So here was our game plan. We would get to Trona Friday afternoon, shoot Josh exploring during golden hour and him finding the box at night. Essentially, we shot the end of the music video on the first day. Saturday morning, we were gonna come back super early, shoot Josh exploring during the day, take a break midday, go back to the Airbnb because we knew it was gonna be super hot. Then we were gonna come back Saturday for golden hour, shoot Josh DJing during golden hour all the way into the night, get all those shots, and then come back actually Sunday in the morning and shoot the day shots of Josh DJing. All right, so we had everything set. It was time to head out to the desert. Day one, we were out in the desert, out in Trona, and it's almost golden hour, so we decided to start shooting. We were excited, we're nervous. All right, so we're out in Trona, out in the middle of the Mojave Desert right now. With the boys. We got Chase, we got Josh. I get the drone up, Chase is shooting on the red. We're off to a smooth start. Going into shooting this, I knew we were gonna wanna have like behind the scenes footage. So while we're shooting, I'm trying to also shoot on my camera and get some BTS video and photo. But what I quickly realized and what I underestimated is how hard it is to try to do everything. Try to fly a drone, try to shoot stuff on the red, try to direct Josh, try to make sure we're getting all the shots, and on top of that, also get photo and video. It was just super overwhelming, and I kind of underestimated how tough that would be. And that brings me to the first lesson I learned on set, which is you can accomplish so much more when you have a team. Straight up, if I didn't have Chase, like this video would not have been possible. It was just too much for me to do on my own, and I'm so glad that I had Chase because he absolutely crushed it. We both have our strengths, so we brought that to the table, and we worked so well as a team, and it just emphasized like how much more efficient you are if you have a team. Even if you feel like you can do everything on your own, like it's just way more efficient if you have people helping you out. Now, going off of that, something that I've always heard said and something that I truly got to experience and understand is that film is all about problem solving. I'll give you a few examples. When I was in Trona, like a few weeks prior to shooting the music video, there was an abandoned train that you could, climb up, and I thought that would be super dope to incorporate into the music video. When we got there, it wasn't there. So we had to problem solve. We had to think of another concept, another thing for Josh to do instead of him climbing up on the train, exploring and having that part of the story. While we were there, we had to make a game time decision of like, okay, how do we work around this problem, but how do we still tell a good story? Another problem that we had to deal with was the lighting. You have to take into account that you only have a certain amount of time while the sun is setting, while the lighting is good, to get all the shots you need. So because we didn't have the luxury of going out to Trona beforehand, we were oftentimes figuring out certain compositions and certain shots on the fly. You pair that with the sun going down and having a limited of time to shoot, very stressful. We're not coming back, so we had to make sure to get it. But that kind of goes back to why it was so great to have Chase there, because if it was just me trying to get drone, wide shots, tight shots, directing, like everything, I just wouldn't have been able to do it. So having a team, even if it's just one extra person to help you get those shots, highly recommend. Going off of that, for the end of the video, we had a general idea of like, okay, yeah, we want Josh to be exploring through the pinnacles and finding this treasure chest, but we didn't have like the specific shots planned out. We originally thought we were gonna wrap around like 8:30 or 9 o'clock that first night, but trying to see in the dark, trying to see where the lights best fit, telling Josh where to go, and figuring out kind of everything on the fly took a lot longer. It added a lot more stress, and we didn't wrap until like 12:30 or 1 a.m. that first night. I say all that to say this, my next tip is go into a shoot as prepared as you can. The less you gotta figure out on the actual shoot day, the better. Day number 2, Saturday morning. This morning was all about getting shots of Josh exploring through the desert. The plan right now is to get the very beginning parts of the video. We're gonna rock some drone footage first. Cool, like coming up straight down, top down angle. Yesterday went really well, and today we're gonna have an even better day. You excited? Excited? Like I mentioned earlier, the original plan was to have Josh like explore on this train. It wasn't there, so we had to audible. To solve this problem, we just got a lot more coverage and a lot more shots of Josh actually walking around in the desert. And then when he came across the train tracks, we decided to get really cool shots of him running on the train tracks instead of him climbing on the actual train. And of course, a couple of things happened that morning that we had to work around that we didn't plan for. So we had to be careful of how much time we were actually spending out in the sun, not only just for ourselves, but for the camera. So we had to make sure to take, 5 to 10 minute breaks, go in the car, blast the AC, because I didn't want us to get super drained and I didn't want the camera to overheat either. Another problem that we came across was how do we get smooth footage of Josh running on the train tracks? I shot it on my drone and of course that's gonna be smooth, but we wanted to shoot it on the red too. Here's what we did. So I was driving the car while Chase was shooting out of the passenger window. The original footage, it was good, it looked fine, but it was kind of like shaky and wonky. Thankfully, we were able to throw some warp stabilizer on it and make it look super smooth, which was great. But another problem on top of that was trying to get the timing right of me driving matched up with Josh running. So, this took a few different takes. We finally got it, but Josh was such a trooper because it was so hot and he had to do quite a few takes of him actually just sprinting full speed in 115-degree weather. So shout out to Josh for that.
Did you get it or no?
This brings us to the second part of day 2, which was devoted strictly to Josh DJing. So we got back to the Pinnacles with more time than we actually needed, which was actually huge because we were able to get the day shots of Josh DJing before golden hour actually hit, which saved us from having to return on Sunday morning to get the day shots of Josh DJing, which was the original plan. But thank God we didn't have to come back Sunday because after Saturday we were pooped. So as we're setting up the DJ equipment, we actually came across the biggest problem of the entire shoot, which was we couldn't get this generator to start. We rented a generator to be able to power up the CDJs, the DJ equipment, and the speakers so that we could actually hear the song as Josh is playing so that he didn't have to fake it. Imagine 3 guys yanking this generator trying to turn it on because it's gas powered. Got to yank it to turn it on and we couldn't figure it out, and we were literally trying for like 15 minutes and I was like, we're fucked, this isn't gonna work. But luckily Chase somehow finessed it, got it turned on, and we were up and running. Once we got everything set up, the generator up and running, we started shooting, and honestly, like the DJ stuff, shooting it like went super smoothly. We played the song a bunch, we got all the footage that we needed of Josh, and then once we wrapped, cracked open a couple of White Claws, and Josh started actually DJing, and we kind of just partied out in the desert in the middle of nowhere. So that was a really, really cool way to like end the entire experience of making the music video. That was a super special moment for me because I got to bring together my 2 best friends, one that I grew up with and one that I met at college. We created this team and we made this awesome music video. It just felt really special to me, and I'm super grateful that we got to do it all together. This music video was definitely a huge step in my career. It was the first time that I had ever shot on a red camera, first time ever shooting a music video. Like the magnitude of this project was the biggest thing that I've worked on thus far. I was super nervous going into it, but sometimes you kind of just got to jump into the deep end and go for it, and that's what we did. I'm really proud of all of us for what we created. Anyways, that does it for this video. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and consider subscribing if you haven't already. If you want to go check out the music video, the link will be in the description bar below. I'd love to see what you guys think of it, so make sure to go check it out. Also, like Chase's stuff, Josh's stuff will all be in the description, so definitely go check them out as well. And that does it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.